All of Allison Holker's suspect moves have finally caught up with her, and her most recent betrayal of her late husband, DJ Steven Twitch Boss, has given the world and police enough to have his case reopened, because her latest actions go beyond removing his last name from her social media accounts within 48 hours, beyond taking off her wedding rings within a couple of months, beyond forcing his mother to sign an NDA in order to see her son one last time, beyond allegedly dating a friend of his before months later announcing to the world that she feels like she's falling in love for the very first time less than 2 years after Steven's passing. Because this time, hidden behind the sensationalism of Allison exposing Steven's alleged childhood trauma that she said was alluded to in his personal journal entries, and not only implying that Steven was an addict, even though she never saw him consume illegal substances of any kind, Allison Holker has unwittingly caused more people to question just why any loving wife would betray their late spouse in this way, making them ask, what is Allison trying to cover up? So when that People magazine cover dropped saying that Steven was hiding so much, the blatant attempt that Allison Holker made to completely destroy Steven's legacy backfired and galvanized his family and friends into public action, leading to them exposing behavior and phone calls that painted a clear picture of exactly who Allison was behind the scenes. And by now, most of you have probably heard Twitch's longtime friend Manny Cross's live, where he played an audio recording of his phone call with Allison after she forced Steven's mom to sign an NDA to attend her own son's celebration of life. In the recording, Allison accuses Manny of trying to set her up when he asks why she would think that Steven's own mother would show a picture of his body to the public if Allison herself wouldn't. And instead of hanging up the phone, as is the usual person's response to feeling set up, unless they're trying to find out what someone else knows, in this case, Allison proceeds to stay on the phone with him for much longer, asking him questions about whether Steven had told him certain things, and begins to come across as delusional when she refused to acknowledge the difference between Steven asking his mom to sign an NDA for a celebrity party versus Allison forcing his mother to sign an NDA to see her son one final time. Allison comes across as manic when she says that she would force Miss Connie to sign an NDA again and again, every single day for the rest of her life if she had to. Allison's anger is exposed when she asks Manny to stop being angry with her and start being angry with Steven for a change, because he's the one who left her. And if that statement sounds familiar, it's because it's the same phrasing that Allison used in her press release the day after Steven's body was found unclothed in a motel bathroom less than 15 minutes from their home. After TMZ broke the news on December 14, 2022, Allison released a statement where she said that her husband Steven has left us, which has always sounded a little off, because why would a loving wife, who according to her initial interviews with police was adamant that her husband had no history of self-harm ideations, no mental health issues, no marital problems, and no financial problems, why would she just immediately accept that such a loving, loyal husband would all of a sudden do the very thing that he used his platform to advocate against? Or was it a Freudian slip, basically telling the real reason why, after dropping his stepdaughter off at school and telling her that he wished he could be her Superman, Twitch went back home, called a motel 15 minutes away to check for vacancies before putting his phone on airplane mode, leaving his car at home, and taking an Uber to the motel instead of meeting Allison at the gym. Does it explain why, when Allison couldn't reach him for the rest of the day and he didn't respond to her phone calls or texts, and she saw that his car was still at home with him nowhere to be found, that instead of running to the police station that same day, she waited until the next day after she dropped the kids off at school and, in her own words, scoured the house looking for something, but just finding a typed note from Steven's Notes app, signed and dated 2 weeks prior, where he made a commitment to himself to wean off his Mary Jane use. After which she finally runs to the police station to file a missing persons report. But according to California's policy, there is no waiting period for reporting a person missing. That means that as soon as he didn't show up for their gym meeting on Monday morning, or as soon as she couldn't reach him on the phone, or as soon as she noticed that he had left his car, all of which she told police was unusual behavior, she could have reported him missing on December 12th, the day that he actually went missing. But she didn't do that. Instead, she waited over 24 hours before running to the police station, where she begged them to help her find her husband, because he had to be hurt somewhere. After the police asked her questions about the state of their marriage and infidelity, to which Allison told them that Steven was the most loyal, loving husband and father, and that they had just celebrated their anniversary and they were happy. 2 policemen followed her home to look around, and after viewing their home security footage where they saw Steven leaving in an Uber the day before, they asked whether he owned any arms, and they searched the home and found an empty, unlocked arms case. And after police questioned her about the missing piece, all of a sudden, Allison begins to call rehab facilities in the area, because she thought DJ Twitch may have just gone to rehab without telling her for his alleged issues with smoking MJ and alcohol. And when staff at one of the rehabs closest to their home informed her that although they couldn't confirm or deny his presence due to privacy laws, if he was there, would she want to leave a message? Which Allison took to be a type of confirmation that he was there. So she told the police, who were still in her front yard, that she thinks she found him at a rehab facility, but could they check? So, on the basis of Allison finding a typed and signed letter in Steven's nightstand, dated 2 weeks prior, where he had made a commitment to himself to wean himself off smoking MJ, and also what Allison referred to as his panic the night before, these things made her think that fresh off their beautiful anniversary weekend, he had checked himself into rehab without telling her. And according to the message she left with the rehab staff, she could understand if he didn't want to speak to her while he was there. But this is a happy marriage. Or did the idea of police finding the empty arms case cause a panic that had her rushing to them with the idea of him being in rehab? So now it's planted in the police mind that, oh, this melanated man has a substance issue. And the typed letter that Steven signed, was that shown to the police to prepare them for possibly finding another typed letter? And if no marital issues, no fights, no financial issues, no mental health issues, what was he panicking over the night before that would make him not want to talk to her if he's in rehab? Just about everything that Allison has done seems to be for the sake of controlling the narrative surrounding what happened with DJ Twitch. Even the NDA that was supposed to be so that his mother and other family and friends wouldn't take pictures of his body and publish them. But according to TMZ, the actual language of the NDA said that if anyone did an interview, articles, programs, or wrote a book about Steven, then all the proceeds will go to Allison. Meanwhile, Allison comes out with a book that before it's even published tries to tarnish his legacy with allegations that weeks after the police investigation was closed, she found a cornucopia of illegal substances in his shoebox, including mushrooms, pills, and substances she couldn't even name without Google. And if his family decides to use this time to speak out against the image she's putting out there, she's using his alleged childhood trauma perpetrated by a male adult to make people question his family's credibility. Because it's certainly not going to help anyone dealing with mental health or trauma to think that the very tool that most use as a safe outlet for processing emotions, managing stress and depression is in fact not safe if another person takes it upon themselves to tell someone else's story as a tool to help others. The only message that sends is that the power that they took back by controlling their own story and healing through journaling can be used against them. That someone else can co-opt their trauma and pretend to use it as a platform to advocate for others. So when Allison levels all these allegations against Stephen's legacy, allegations of childhood trauma that led to her feeling betrayed after seeing them, not even explicitly stated but alluded to in his journals, or allegations that were disproven by the toxicology report that found neither substance nor alcohol in Stephen's system. Basically, she's trying to build herself up by tearing down the legacy that she's still standing on.
It's also really important in my healing journey that people start to see me as me without him.
She's playing out the scripture that says by her own words is she condemned. Because the more Allison talks, the more the truth is revealed. And throwing her daughter under the bus by not only coaching her to go on IG Live, something she had never done before.
Like while I start?
And having her speak on things that she has no understanding of, all the while disrespecting the man who has taken care of her since she was a toddler, and choosing now to tell everyone that Stephen never adopted her, when her parents were the one who allowed the adoption story to be printed in People magazine and other articles for years. But she also let People magazine craft a narrative that her daughter was the last person to see Stephen alive, without correcting them. It's proving more and more the story she told about when DJ Twitch knew he would marry her, after she convinced him to bypass the security on new homes under construction in LA so they could explore them. But then, once they triggered the alarm, she took off and left him on his own to deal with whatever possible consequences of being a melanated man caught breaking and entering in LA would bring.
And me and Stephen were on a drive one night, this is well back when we were just dating, and there was a house being built. But we're here in LA, okay? This is me being very naive. Yeah. It's very naive to LA culture. It's a little bit different. I was like, let's go through the house. He was like, can we do that? I was like, yeah, we can. Of course we can. Of course we can go through this house. So we parks the car. But of course it's like a mansion and it's like fenced off. And I was like, oh, no, I got you. Just give me like a boost. So he boosts me over this fence. He climbs the fence. And I'm like, oh, like, we'll just find a door. We start like fiddling with the doors. They're locked, whatever. And then I find one in the back and it was unlocked. I was like, see, like, this is why. By the way, this is nighttime. It's not daytime. Oh my God. I know. So I was like, we just got to go in. Everything's fine. I did this all the time when I was a kid. Whatever. So we're going through this house and it's like beautiful. At one point we triggered the alarm going into it. So not at first. Like we were like in the house like, oh, this is beautiful, blah, blah, blah. And then we went to a new room and the alarm starts going, lights are going, boom, boom, whatever. And I just took off running. And he said before he even knew it, I was already running up the street. I hopped the fence, blah, blah, blah. I was running. And he was like, I'm gonna marry her. And
you had forgotten all about it. You're gone.
Because he was like, I knew that you were just down for an adventure, but then also you'd also make sure you were gonna be like taking care of everybody and good and get through it. And I was like, I thought it was really funny.
It's proving that regardless of who is left behind or left holding the bag, Allison is going to make sure she's good. Stephen's family and friends have let Allison cook for more than 2 years, and Allison's constant talking is painting an entirely different picture than what she intends. And just about everyone is seeing it, especially since she keeps changing her story and slipping up and revealing what really happened when Stephen Twitch Boss went missing on December 12th, 2022. Let me know what you think in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.